Hello and welcome to EBA Day 2019 in Stockholm. I'm Hannah Wallace, and kindly joining me now in the TV studio is Thomas Hager and Rajesh Venkataraman from IBM, and we're talking about Uberization of corporate payments. Hello gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me.
Hello Hannah.
It's lovely to see you again. So yes, it's a really interesting topic and stirring a lot of discussion at this year's EBA Day. But to set the scene for our audience, could you introduce Uberization of commerce? Thomas.
Yeah, Hannah, it's really all about the customer experience and the way our customers will engage with services in the future and how technology contributes to that. And here I would talk about the platform really that is at the core of everything that we will do in the future. And the platform will enable several things. One is it will enable new business models. It will be a plug and play infrastructure, and it will enable you to bring creators of services and consumers of services together in a platform that is open and extended to the outside world. And I think that will change our payments business as we know it today. Let me give you an example, because that to me illustrated it very well. And you said Uberization. Uber is the example. When Uber onboarded their drivers, they had a big problem of getting these new drivers. Now were small business owners to get a business account, and their banking relationship was not set up to actually onboard with Uber. So Uber took the whole process. They actually looked at the process and they onboarded the drivers through the Uber experience and opened up their process with APIs, and then had a digital bank that then all of a sudden had new clients onboarded to their banking relationship. So that shows how the opening up of APIs and a platform like Uber could now create a whole new experience for everybody involved, and it changed the business model, so to speak. And the other example is really Britline. All of us know about this one who go into France for vacation. They offer this service for people that want to have a banking service in English, but it is Crédit Agricole with their core banking system that they opened up, and there's a third party coming in and translating that. So those are two examples that kind of show what APIs, open banking can really create, and it creates a whole new digital end-to-end experience for our clients that will drive value for everybody involved. But it requires that we change our core, we're open and connected, we extend what we have, and we open up for AI, for instance, and analytics, so that in the whole process, in the new process, we can now actually show, and not just show, we can also analyze the processes and improve as we move forward. And that can be done in a very, very short amount of time, rather than in a long process as we have been accustomed over the last 30 years. So that's really what is changing in our industry.
Sure, it's a fascinating business model, but what I'd like to hear from you as well, to sort of follow on from that, and you've kind of already touched on it a bit already, but what areas of the payments sort of market and world is this business model having an impact on?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we really see is that the simplicity of this will really help the corporate treasurer, for instance, really move forward. He all of a sudden, and he or she can work this in the same way as they're used to working it when they're outside of work, when they use their apps and their telephones. And why should they have a very difficult application and a different way of doing things when they are used to actually doing it very easily on their mobile phones? So this we will see. And we will also see the interconnectedness of the services, and there will be productivity gains as well that will free up the corporate treasurer to do other things, to focus on strategy and the new business models that I was talking about. Then let's not forget one thing. The attack is on, the fintechs are coming, and the treasurers have to think about how can they actually survive in this new environment, and how can they play as part of this new game. And the rules are changing, and they need to be in that, and they need to put out the strategy. And so that's really what's happening.
Sure, we can see the fintechs over there in the fintech zone. Would you say that's one of the key drivers with this business model?
One of the key drivers is really the cloud-native architectures that are emerging, the microservices componentized business model that is now coming to the forefront through the regulators that said open up. It's kind of interesting, ironic, some people may say, because the regulator comes in and says, open up, and all of a sudden now there's a free flow of innovation happening, which I think is great. innovators actually encouraged by regulators. So that I think is really at the core of what everything is happening, and we go in with obviously Red Hat, OpenShift, and a data hub that is actually shared services that comes together on a shared data model and a shared process model that brings the new capabilities to those banks, and also obviously puts everything together so that you have a seamless process and you're much more efficient in the future.
And Rajesh, coming to you then, what does this mean for the corporate banks, and what steps do they need to take next?
Building on what Tom shared, a typical corporate client, let's say a mid-sized to a large corporate client, has anywhere from 3 to dozen plus banking relationships. So we're coming to a world where fintechs will start to evolve and be able to provide value-added services on top of what are traditional services that clients get from their banks anymore. So you're going to see an evolution of the model where either fintech is going to take that intermediary role and become the aggregator of content and data and value-added services, or a corporate bank needs to start to become more agile, nimble, along the lines of what Thomas just laid out, and be able to take that position, and it could be a single bank or it could even be a consortium of banks coming through. But in order to be able to do that, a corporate bank needs to be able to have a very strong API strategy and API management strategy, and be nimble by being truly based on microservices-based services, such that they can evolve with and be as agile and nimble as some of the fintechs they're competing and working with these days.
All right, and I'm sure our audience would love to hear some examples. So you can share with us some use cases.
Sure. So in this world, so if you think about a corporate treasurer, Thomas talked about simplicity and efficiency. Having your ERP systems connected directly to some of these platforms, connected through these APIs, the ease of connection, the ease of integration, and being able to better manage your receivables and payables on a more timely fashion is because it helps with cash management and your liquidity management, which is extremely critical for a lot of these, for every corporate client out there. So it's value-added services that and these integrations that really pull together the strategy for corporate banks going forward.
All right, and what is IBM's unique value proposition then?
Yeah, so currently we're building on a digital banking platform where we try to bring the best of the industry together on our shared platform. And when I say digital banking platform, it is an open platform where we have a microservices architecture, where we have cloud native development, and we are opening up to the best of the industry. And it's domain-driven design, so we start with credit and lending, and the next one is payments, so we're at the right conference here. So the payments one will be exactly the one that we follow up very quickly, but it will all be cloud native, it will all run on OpenShift, and it will have our Cloud Pak for Data, where you have the integration of data with what the client has and what we have to offer with our data products. So you have a shared data fabric and a shared process fabric, and that will actually bring a lot of simplicity and obviously also economies of scale and economics to the platform that then we will bring out. And we invite third parties and fintechs to become part of this platform as we move out, and we will build this out with clients. And the good thing about this one is that we enable our clients who are also now engaging on this journey for cloud native development to also develop on this platform themselves. So they're not dependent on anybody from the outside. They can do this on their own, and we're enabling them. And I think that's a good way to enable also our clients to do the right thing for themselves in their situation.
Sure, some really exciting developments ahead. And as I said before, it's a real interesting topic of discussion at EBA Day. But what can delegates expect to see in the next 5 years or so? How do you think this space is going to evolve?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think we will see a further decomponentization of the industry. The monolithic applications will actually fall apart because clients demand it, and the end customer is demanding that as they demand for new customer services. And we know how the millennials today want this, want that, want it all digital. And if you have it all, in your monolithic system, you cannot really respond. And we will see a microservices architecture as we move forward in the future, and you will see microservices as you go forward. And you will see different business models, because now you don't charge a large sum of money for your big software product that you build over the years, but you have microservices that you charge on the usage base, and you actually create a whole new business model as you move forward. So it's changing in the banks, it's changing for the partners, it's changing for IBM, but I think it's a very positive, innovative way of reconstructing the industry, so to speak.
And I think having the right tools, and the tools that we provide clients, banks, financial institutions, gives them the capabilities to play in this new open world by partnering with this ecosystem of fintechs. You've gone from a world of looking at them as competitors to it's almost a co-opetition model, where the banks have the relationship with the clients, they have the payments data, they have the payments hub, and the fintechs are starting to provide the services around it. And I think that relationship is going to mature more, and the winner is going to be the customer.
Fascinating. Well, I think it's safe to say watch this space. Gentlemen,
Absolutely.
thank you very much for coming in and speaking with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.